So I put on my first event in the first time in like over 10 years. And in this video, I want to share a event debrief of my event, as well as the lessons that I've learned and the takeaways.
Mosaic Mondays.
So for the past month, I have been going all in on creating this live keynote concert / silent art auction event. It took a lot of time, effort, and energy into bringing all the puzzle pieces together, from creating the artwork to writing the songs, to producing and mixing and mastering the tracks to the songs, the instrumentals to the songs, to memorizing the lyrics to the songs, and trying to get the poems in my mouth more solidly, rehearsing and all that stuff that goes into a show, promoting the show, putting a sales page together for the show, promoting the show to friends and family and people that I know, emailing. It just took a lot of effort and energy to put that event together. And I wanted to share in this video a debrief of this event and how it went, how I felt, how I feel about it now after being able to kind of sit with my accomplishment for the past few days and just sort of step back and see all the things that I learned from it, the things that went well, really well, the things that didn't go as necessarily planned, and what I plan on doing next time. So I want to first start off by just saying, normally when you do a launch debrief in the entrepreneurial world, you talk about numbers, and that's not the focus of this video, but I'll just go ahead and share that this event allowed me to bring just under $1,000 in revenue, and that's in ticket sales, donations, and art sales, right? So that number includes just under $1,000 ticket sales, art sales, and donations for this live event, right? And so all that includes, renting a camera, buying food for the event, renting a camera to record the event, buying food for the hors d'oeuvres and all that stuff, and all that other stuff. And so the expenses that came with the event, which is what I was just mentioning, was camera rental, food expenses, buying materials for my art, display materials, like displaying my art, like sort of like that little stand that you see back there, buying those stands, buying clipboards, pens, paper, printer ink, printing out the workbooks for the event, and then of course time, effort, and energy that I put into all that to bring it to life, right? So that's basically what went down in terms of expenses, in terms of revenue, and all that good stuff. And I don't think my expenses exceeded $300 in this instance. So I probably profited about $500 to $600 from this event in terms of all the expenses that I just mentioned, and then as well as the revenue minus expenses, right? So profit. So let's talk about what I learned, the lessons I learned, what really went well. Let's start with what really went well. Overall, the whole process of the event went really well. I was really shocked at how effortless, in a lot of ways, things were coming together without me having to put a lot of stress and strain into it, from the donations that came in, to ticket sales, to just everything just sort of flowing together. And the art, coming up with art pieces that I wanted to sell, and all that stuff, and putting together. The funny thing is about this event is I had a divine download about this event in June of this year, and my goal was actually to put it on in July, but I ended up postponing it until like the last day of August. So it was actually like one day when I was sleeping at my mom's house, because I was staying with my mom over this summer, and I woke up and I had this divine download of this whole set list that literally just came flushing into my mind, of all the songs and poems that I had written in the order that I wanted to do it in. And all of that stuff literally just came into my mind just one morning in June, right? And so putting it on 2 months later was pretty epic and awesome, right? Like being able to actualize a dream or divine download that I received, just 2 months prior. So that was really, really awesome. And so that was that's one of the things, just being able to self-actualize a divine download. And then two, just all the love and support, like from my friends, not friends, but from my family mostly, my mother, father, cousins, and other people who helped me out in bringing this event to life, as well as just, being able to purchase the food, the event venue, like my uncle. I held the event at my uncle's house, and it was amazing because, he allowed me to host my event at his house, which was amazing. And so that went well. And so that really cut expenses and costs down a lot. And just being able to, the whole vibe of the event, setting things up the day of, not really stressing and straining, like it took definitely a lot of energy. I'll talk about what didn't go well, but the biggest things, that effort and stuff that went into energy, was just putting the event together, printing out the workbooks, setting up the chairs, setting up the venue and stuff like that to where it flowed nicely, having the music and stuff like that, all that stuff that went into the event. Took the most time and effort and energy, but it was also the most rewarding because everything came together perfectly. Like everything was artsy, cozy, and intimate, exactly as I wanted it to be. And also the participants, the people who were able to make it, really enjoyed it. I got great feedback from it. Everyone basically enjoyed it. Nobody walked out saying that this was crap or they felt like they wasted their money or anything. So everybody felt like it was totally worth it, or they felt like they got something out of it, or felt inspired or empowered. A lot of people gave me a lot of great feedback in terms of, me walking into my divine gift and purpose. And so that was also very self-affirming and stuff like that. So that's all that went well. Like a lot of stuff just went really well. The event flowed smoothly. So let's talk about what didn't go well. And it's not that many things, right? Like it's just more so like my mindset and my internal process, honestly, that didn't go well in terms of this whole thing. But the actual event itself, let me just say this as a caveat, went really well, right? Internally, right? 3 days prior, I had started suffering from insomnia. My mind just began like racing all the time. Every day, like 2 to 3 days leading up to the event, I just couldn't sleep. Like I would sleep for like 2 hours and then wake up, and then my mind would be up until like, let's say I woke up at 2 a.m. and then I wouldn't be able to somewhat go back to sleep until 7 a.m. and then I still wouldn't only be able to sleep for like 2 hours. And so I was really operating on a low amount of sleep. And I don't know what I could do to remedy that. I was really trying, staying off my phone, trying to meditate, or just trying to like listen to, ambient sounds or music. And it just really wasn't helping. Like my mind was just racing for like 2 to 3 days prior to the event, right? So I was just really operating on adrenaline for the day of the event, right? Because I really couldn't sleep the day, especially the night before. So that was what didn't go well. Another thing is, I wish I had practiced my speech more, because I felt like I wasn't as confident. Like I can stand up and sing in front of anybody because I've been doing it since I was little. So I don't have any issue singing and stuff like that. But speaking and sharing my story in between, for the keynote concert part, and like sharing my story with confidence and succinctness, as well as incorporating more of the workshop pieces and being able to work through like the exercises and stuff like that. I wish I had practiced that more, like with a live audience before, or just even 1 or 2 people, just to get that sort of feedback and flow of it, because I felt like it was a little disjointed. Because though I had like a whole outline that I printed out and was like kind of going with the outline and stuff like that, and reading the poems, and everything went according to order. I did some things out of order and not according to the way I did it. And some of the pieces of the exercises I kind of left out. So I didn't feel like they hit as hard as it could have, like in terms of the effect, even though a lot of the participants explained to me that they enjoyed it or whatever. But I felt like I could have did a better job in terms of delivering the exercises and delivering my stories in the speech part of my keynote concert. So I definitely want more practice in doing that and the deliverance of it. I felt like my performances were an A+, I would give myself, like A to A+, considering that I was operating literally on like 4 hours of sleep. I think I did pretty well. Some of the poem deliveries, I really next time also want to memorize all my poems. Like I pretty much memorized most of my songs. but I want to be able to deliver my poems and the songs in the keynote concert without having to look at a paper, right? I just want to go completely like, be able to stand in front of the audience and be like, you know, rote memory, like everything is all up here, right? And so when someone participates and stuff, like there's no barrier, there's no podium or stand between me and the audience, because in the event I used the stand, and I feel like that sometimes creates a barrier sometimes, and it feels like I'm not as professional, although I don't feel like that's the energy that I gave off, but I just want to come memorize next time. Like I want to be able to recite each poem, because I did like 4 poems, recite 4 poems and 5 songs, sang 5 songs or something. So I want everything to be memorized, right? And I can say it and spit it with confidence, you know what I mean? And not have to look down at a paper to remember things, you know? So that's something I would have done differently as a performer and as a keynote speaker. I'm trying to think. So that's that in terms of that. The silent art auction went really well. I love that I printed out, I don't even have it up here with me, but I printed out these little silent art auction bid sheets, you know, with the different bid prices. I even had a QR code and stuff. And the only thing I would do different there is make sure that I add like my Cashapp and Venmo QR code instead of just a checkout code. Because for some reason, like at the venue, I didn't have really solid, like there's not like the Wi-Fi and your phone service isn't as strong there, and so people couldn't access the access the checkout cart that I had created for the art pieces. So a lot of people just ended up Cash Apping me or just giving me cash or whatever. So next time I will definitely just add the QR code so people can just QR code the Cash App, my Cash App handle or Venmo handle. That way I don't have to like type it in physically for them or whatever. So that's just one little minor detail I would do differently. In terms of the drinks, I totally forgot to just tell people that drinks were in the back of the room, because there was like a bar in the back of the room, and there had the drinks. So I had this big table of like, you know, hors d'oeuvres in the front. When you walk in, there's like hors d'oeuvres, but I forgot to point people to the back in case they were thirsty, because I had a bunch of like, you know, drinks left over, juices and water and stuff like that I ended up having to take home, because I don't even drink juice like that. So it's still sitting in my fridge. But yeah, I just directed people. I forgot to tell people that drinks were back there, so hopefully they weren't parched throughout the event. But I had a lot of fruit and vegetables, so you know that's very high water content. But I would have just remembered to tell people that there was drinks in the back. And then another thing I would do is have a host, right? Like putting this live event on by myself was a lot, right? Being able to host all this stuff by myself was a lot. Like it's a lot to put together an event. So not being like having someone to be able to introduce myself, and also someone to be able to handle a lot of the logistics, because I made it so simplified, it wasn't as like intensive. You know, I had my list of things that I was checking off and everything I pretty much remembered. And I would also probably rent like a spotlight or whatever next venue I use, make sure there's a spotlight and enough like light as well to make sure that everything flows well. So those are the main things that I would do differently. Also a little behind the scenes, like I had like bought this nice dress for it, ended up ruining the dress because I was like putting on my makeup and like ended up having a makeup stain like lipstick on my dress, and luckily my uncle's partner ended up lending me one of her dresses, which actually ended up working out even better. So that's another plus, like, because it was this because I had this sort of Afrocentric head wrap, and then she gave me this sort of like semi-African print dress that I was wearing, which matched like my flip-flops, so I didn't have to change my shoes and stuff. So it was perfect. Like everything just kind of gelled together perfectly and fit nicely, and I looked all, you know, ethnocentric. I don't know. I looked awesome, I thought. So that was really good. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full video, consider becoming a patron at mosaicsoulsworld.com. Thanks to my current patrons, and I hope to see you guys on the inside. Catch you next week. Peace, love, and light.